In the heart of ALAIGBO, a magnificent palace stood as the pride of King Seduced's reign. The walls gleamed in the fading light, a symbol of wealth and power. But behind this golden walls, sorrow and illness has taken root. King Seduced lay bedridden, worn by a relentless sickness that drained his strength and kept him from his wives. He had not touched them for many months, leaving his second and third wives without children. Rumors of his impotency quietly whispered through the palace. The king's first wife, the only one who had ever borne him a child, has passed away many years ago. She left behind the only child, Prince Ifeanyi, the king's pride, his only heir. The loss of his mother had left a deep wound in his heart. Now, with his father weakened and palace burdened by grief, Prince Ifeanyi found himself alone. The absence of his mother and the distance from his ailing father weighed heavily on him. But with that loneliness came a dangerous temptation. The allure of the quiet chambers, the untouched beauty of his father's wives, and a desire that defied traditional respect. A desire that would soon ignite a chain of events no one can foresee. Adanna, the king's youngest wife, was everything a man could want. Her curves, the way her skin glowed in the evening light. She was like forbidden fruit. Prince Ifeanyi has seen her many times, but this time was different. He watched her more closely now, with a hunger he could no longer deny. The king had not touched her in many months, leaving her untouched, unclaimed. The temptation was too much for Ifeanyi to resist.
Before we continue, kindly like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever we drop a new video.
One night, the prince found himself alone with Adanna. She tried to keep her distance, but the heat between them was undeniable. His hand found her waist, pulling her close as their breaths quickened. She whispered, "This is wrong," but her body said otherwise. His lips claimed hers, and the passion that follows was raw, intense, unstoppable. What started as a single night of passion soon turned into a series of secret meetings. Night after night, they found themselves tangled in shit, losing themselves in the heat of their forbidden lust. But Adanna was not enough. Prince Ifeanyi's hunger grew stronger, and soon his eyes fell on another wife, Enkay, the king's second. She was older, more experienced, but just as tempting as Adanna was. At first she resisted, but like Adanna, Enkay was lonely, untouched by the king for months, and when Ifeanyi touched her, all her resistance crumbled. Night after night, the prince slipped into her bed, his body finding comfort in hers, their mouths filling the silent chambers. The prince was unstoppable, and now the secret was not just between him and Adanna. It was growing. After many nights with the prince, Adanna began feeling a sudden wave of nausea. Her hands instinctively rested on her belly, and the truth struck her like lightning. She was pregnant. The weight of the realization pressed down on her chest as fear gripped her. She whispered to herself, the terror of the consequences settling in her heart. 1 month later, Enkay too started noticing the same sign of pregnancy. Her heart raced as she felt a subtle change in her body. Her breath caught as the truth hit her. Adanna was not the only one. She too is now carrying the prince's child. Panic surged through her, and she stood frozen, realizing that their secret could no longer be kept. It was not long before the result of those forbidden nights became impossible to cancel. Adanna's belly began to grow, and not long after, Enkay's body showed the same undeniable sign of pregnancy. The king had been distant for months, leaving no doubt about whose children they carried. What started as a hidden indulgence had now turned into a dangerous truth. The king's wife were bearing the prince's children, and soon there will be no way to keep the secret buried. The gods do not tolerate such betrayal. One night, the oracle came to the palace, her eyes burning with the message from the heavens. "The prince has defied the kingdom bloodline," she said. "The gods have seen it all, and they are angry. For this sin, the prince and the wife he had impregnated must be cast out. If this is not done, the gods will unleash their fury upon the land. The crops will wither, the rivers will dry, and the kingdom will fall. There was no question, the prince and his lovers would face the wrath of the gods. King Ezudo, already weakened by his illness, was heartbroken. His only son had betrayed him in the most unforgivable way. The prince had defied the sacred bond of family, and now the gods demanded justice. Though the king's heart was heavy, there was no choice. Ifeanyi, the king said, his voice cracking, "You have disgraced this family. The gods have spoken and I must obey. You are now banished from the kingdom, along with the wives you have impregnated. I have no choice but to send you away. May the gods have mercy on you." And so, under the decree of the gods, Prince Ifeanyi and the wives he had impregnated were cast out. The once proud prince, who had taken what was not his, now walked with his head bowed, stripped of his title, his honor and his home. Behind him, the women he had seduced carried his children, their future uncertain. The palace gate closed behind them with a heavy clutch, sealing their fate. The prince, the unborn children, and the wives he had defied were gone forever, banished from the land they had once called home. The gods were satisfied, and the kingdom was saved from the wrath, but King Ezudo was left with a heart full of sorrow. He had lost his only son, his wives, and the future heirs of the kingdom. Though the land was spared, the cost was heavy. The prince's forbidden laws had destroyed everything. Now, only silence remained where love, power, and family had once thrived. Desire can be dangerous. It blinds, it consumes, and in the end it destroys. Prince Ifeanyi's story is one of loss, betrayal, and the heavy price paid when we give in to our darkest desire. Let this be a warning. The gods see all, and no one can escape their judgment. Until next time, remember, the choice we make today can echo through eternity.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please kindly like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever we drop a new video.